Good morning to you, Senna, and to your listeners.
I hope Nana is well.
Super well this morning.
I'll read to you an announcement that was put on the Facebook page of the Electricity Company of Ghana on Monday, 11th March 2024. And the announcement is the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited wishes to inform our cherished customers and the general public that so far 630 distribution transformers within communities across our operational areas are full to capacity due to increased demand. The situation may result in blown fuses and broken conductors, causing outages, especially during the peak load period, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. in the affected areas. So this is the reason they are giving for the situation that a lot of Ghanaians are facing during the peak period, especially in the evening. Nana, is that tenable to you from what you know of our current power situation?
Thanks for having me, Senna. My live just came on barely 7 minutes ago. Went off 4:30 this morning at Gulf City. You can confirm from people that live within that enclave. This is outside the peak period. The ECG is making us understand or seeking to explain the problem away. It is not tenable. Let me be brief with that. That is not the cause of the outages. It could be part of the problem because, as we understand, the major problem we have today is cash flow constraint. The problem we have, I want to repeat again, is illiquidity in the sector. Senna, we have an installed capacity in excess of 5,000 megawatts. Let me say 5,200 megawatts. A peak demand of close to 3,650 megawatts. That leaves a wide gap of almost 1,500 megawatts. This is in excess of any reserve margin one will want to have. Now, even let me use the dependable capacity of 4,750 to do this mathematics as against the peak demand of 3,650. It's about 1,100 megawatts. In excess of 18% reserve margin required. And so, if we are losing even 500 megawatts as a result of exhausted transformer capacity, we must have also some other part of the reserve to meet the needs of consumers. Unfortunately, since the beginning of the year, producers, both the state-owned enterprises, VRA, Bui, and the IPPs have not been able to produce beyond 3,300 megawatts. Most of the time you find some key plants, either it is shut down or it is not producing to full capacity. And these are some of the reasons. One, Senna, it may be due to constraint in fuel supply because we owe the people that will supply us the gas, particularly the gas from Nigeria, or we owe the transmitter of the gas, particularly from the Western Corridor, Atuabo, or let's say Abuade, to the Tama Enclave. If Nigeria gas stays flowing, and or probably it doesn't come in adequate quantity, plants like, let me use a plant like Asogli, will struggle to produce its full capacity of close to 500 or 550 megawatts. If Nigeria restricts the flow totally, Asogli cannot produce at all. If Asogli have some flow from the Western Corridor, the most it can produce will be somewhere around 300 megawatts. And so you find deficit in production here. So I refer to the fuel, both in its supply and its transmission. For financial reasons, sometimes you find that we have this problem. Also, let's come to particularly the independent power producers. They also struggle to produce sometimes because of low flow of gas from Western Corridor to the Eastern Corridor. And so now remember that our domestic gas production has been falling consistently from 2019 thereabouts. And so we are not having enough gas. Unfortunately, government failed to put in place alternative fuel supply, particularly the liquid ones. They find it very expensive, or they don't have money to buy or standby. For the supply of gas from the Western Corridor to the Eastern Corridor is owned by GMPC, so that they can have it. But then to go and buy light crude oil or heavy fuel oil or diesel, they struggle to have stock. IPP will once in a while threaten that pay us our invoices, clear them, or we shut down. Sometimes Greco will have challenge in one area or the other transmitted because of a weak infrastructure, which means that we are not investing much in the transmission grid to make it robust enough to convey produced power to distributors to bring it to our homes for financial constraints. The ECG itself, as a distributor, struggles to undertake plant maintenance for reason of cash flow constraint. It means that they are only reporting to corrective measures and not plant maintenance. And so if the ECG is telling us today that they have problems with their transformers, which can impact on adequate supply of power and constant supply of power, I will take it that it's part of the reason. But a whopping 630 transformers, capacity exhausted, for which we must suffer for this. As an engineer myself, Sana, I will, let me be blunt here, a palpable falsehood. And we ask ourselves, didn't you see it coming? Did it happen overnight? Sana, everybody within the value chain in the power sector, the supplier of fuel, the transmitter of the fuel, the power generator, the transmitter of the power, the distributor of the power, is old. And when you don't have enough of money, the money is the type of, ingredient that oils and lubricate the oil and the power sector. If your engine is not well lubricated, if your system is not well lubricated, there will be frictions, there will be wear and tear, and the system cannot hold. And so the fundamentals in the sector are weak. Simplest as that.
Very interesting. So, from what you're saying, we have a shortfall in generation.
exactly the case.
We have deteriorating transmission infrastructure. ECG is now complaining of the fact that they are unable to do periodic maintenance. And
Sure.
And then you come back to the point you say, is all this down to the fact that, like you said, everyone is old?
Sure.
Everybody. So basic issue is money.
The basic issue is cash flow, money. It's money. It's money.
Because you were talking to me about, I think the last time, and PURC has released a whole report on this. There was supposed to be something called, is it a cash waterfall system? I was supposed to address some of these issues with money. From the PURC report, it seems it's not working out. What's the challenge there?
Then the cash water system ceased work many years ago. They didn't start yesterday or last year. And what it's supposed to do is that ECD or NETCO, they sit at the tail end of the value chain. They take the power and sell it to us. We consume the power, and we sometimes have to prepay or pre-finance the usage of the power or post-paid. They have to collect all the power sold to us, then collect the money, go back, put the money into the cash waterfall system. Then it will begin to fall on the distribution will begin to fall on all the players in the value chain. The supplier of the fuel, the transmitter of the fuel, the generator, the transmitter of the power, the distributor of the power. Everybody gets a fair share based on their contribution. So, if we had 10, let's say a unit of 10 or 10 cities, and each of them contributed 111, except the power producers contributing, let's say, 5. Then we should share it on that basis, proportionally. It is shared. And so there are first class people, class A, class B. The class A's are the independent power producers or the non-government state utilities, including WAPCO and the ICT. Then the class B is the state-owned ones and the quasi ones like We Power Authority. So the class A has priority, first priority to receive, even if there's any shortfall in the collection of the cash. This is what the cash waterfall system is, to ensure a fair distribution of the revenue collected at the tail end of the value chain. If you don't collect enough of that cash as ECG or NETCO, it means that there is deficit in the cash waterfall system. If you don't distribute fairly, then it means there's also a problem here. So now you and I know that today, the ECG is so inefficient that if you give them 2,000 or 1,000 megawatts, they can account for almost 30%. Because there are technical reasons and there are commercial reasons. Either they fail to collect it or they fail to monitor or make an effective collection of this cash. Ghanaians, you and I, sometimes we try to steal power. It affects the ECG. But it is the work of ECG to ensure that Ghanaians don't steal power. They make every effort and collect all the revenue. Then they go and put it there. This is the commercial losses that I'm talking about. Then, of course, we have technical losses. The system may be weak. Transformers are not working effectively. Leakages in the distribution system. probably for weak lines or poor cables and all that, close to 14% of that as well. And so, UCG is already struggling. But for you to collect what you have been able to collect and not distributing fairly makes the matter worse in the cash waterfall system.
Then, from everything you have said, wherein lies the solution? Because you see inefficiency throughout, and that inefficiency will continue until obviously looks like some significant injection of capital.
It's only the case. If we are waiting on UCG to do the funding of this arrangement or this grade, or the Greek code to do that, in fact, it will take us until Christ comes, and we don't know when Christ is coming. And so government must look for funds to invest in the grid and solve the inefficiencies in the sector. You know, I didn't mention Greco. They lose as much as 5%. They will go to other jurisdictions. Go to other countries. Both the distribution and the transmission allowable losses is not in excess of 5%. The two together. Inertia in Philippines. But then we must not find money, and I'm sure that's why what the U.S. Compact 2 sought to do through, privatizing part of giving ECG out on concession, and PDS filled up at that. And so today, our inefficiencies in the sector keep growing. Until we fill that situation, then we will maybe met every period with financial or cash flow or funding issues for the sector. And I pray for the next government. Whoever forms the next government will struggle to deal with this issue. In fact, Dumsor is not going away anytime soon until we are able to address the financial constraints in the sector.
I see. And from every discussion we've had, ESLA cannot help at this time.
So I come with your question again.
And from every discussion we've had, it seems ESLA cannot help.
You see, we fail to make the ESLA work. ESLA was intended to clear a legacy debt in the sector. I remember it was introduced in December 2015. Yes, 2015. Sure. And it was supposed to raise almost $650 million annually. And ESLA was slapped on every liter of fuel that we consume. And so let's take it that all things being equal, if the volume we consume even stay the same, it was projected that within 5 years, that's the legacy debt must be cleared. Because $650 million over 5 years, and I'm sure we are talking about $3.25 billion here to clear a 2.7 million legacy debt. And so after, let's say, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, ESLA should have been off the price build-up system for petrol price or diesel price. Should have been off. Then we proceeded to collateralize it. Just this was misplaced. Today, the debt in the sector is in excess of $3 billion. We are only talking about UCG, whose invoices is up to the tune of about $1.5 billion. Just the invoices. They've not spoken about the idle capacity, the exchange rate losses, fuel supply invoices. Power sale invoices is what we are talking about, 1.5 billion, just for the power sector. We've not come to the petroleum sector. So now today we are still paying extra. If you have applied it towards and stuck to the methodology, I'm sure extra should have been off. If we, today as we have it, extra should have given us, if we chose to say after 5 years, we'll still keep it on the price build-up system. It should have given us a free cash flow, $650 million. Enough to fix the problem in the sector. And so the application of the ESLA, as we have it today, has failed us. And we are not getting any good use of the money that's generated through the sale of a little fuel.
And in the absence of that, government needs to find money wherever it can. What happens if we are unable to fix this problem as soon as possible?
If you're unable to fix the problem, you'll be in Dumsor, or God knows what. You'll be in Dumsor. You see, the kind of investment that was made in the past. Let me come back, because the problem that we have been met with over the years was low install capacity and inadequate supply of fuel. That has been our problem for many years, through Rawlings and through His Excellency, former President Kofo, His Excellency, the former President at Amoasi, and His Excellency John Mahama, had the inadequacy of install capacity and challenge to ensure that there's adequate fuel supply. When we are talking about fuel supply, let's not take out the hydro. If there's low water level in a coastal mole, the Bui and the Pong, they cannot generate much. That is the challenge with fuel supply. If you are not able to sort and diversify our fuel sources, we'll have a challenge. If you are not able, if diversified, and we're not able to procure it for financial reasons, then of course there's the challenge there. That is one. The next one is the capacity. Our peak demand could be 2,000, but our installed capacity may be less than 2,000. Our dependable capacity could be less than 2,000. That's the next challenge. We work hard and solve the capacity issue, moving it today up to 5,200 megawatts. Dependable capacity of 4,750, peak demand of 3,650. A clear comfort gap of more than 1,100. So it means that we have enough of a reserve margin. So why should we see Dumsor? We only see Dumsor when we are struggling to get the fuel. And when we are struggling to raise enough money to maintain particularly the transmission and the distribution grid. Today, some power plants are down, not just because of lack of fuel supply, but there was no money or they couldn't carry out their plant maintenance. So their plants keep on tripping here and there, and they have to shut down and do a corrective maintenance, restart, and it shuts down again. And so at a point, Senna, you can have all the 5 cars you need to convey each of your children to school. But if you don't maintain those cars, a day will come, one of your children cannot go to school, presuming that each car carries one person, because 1 or 2 cars are broken down. Why are they broken down? You failed to maintain it. Why did you fail to maintain it? You had less money, or you didn't have enough to maintain those cars, so it can convey the commodities that they need to convey, or the human beings. The kind of investment that was done in the sector some years back was so much enough that what was left is to fix the transmission and the distribution grid. Then we go. But we failed to work at that. And now the ripple effect is even the install capacity is being affected negatively.
Yeah. Certainly a lot more to do. Thank you very much, Anna, as always.
Thanks for having me this morning. And good morning once again from Epunfi above.
Extend our greetings to your subjects too. Nana Amoasi VII is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, joining us, and long may Nana live. Happy birthday to Perpetua Seram Pabi. Perpetua Seram Pabi is from your